My ex-husband, 38, Kevin, and I, 36, female, got divorced 4 years ago. We have a teen daughter, Liz, together. Admittedly, I've never been on good terms with Kevin since the divorce, but I try to stay civil for Liz's sake. He met his then-girlfriend less than a year ago and then got married. Their wedding was last week. Liz was invited, but I got contacted by Kevin with a list of rules from him and his now wife, like how I'm not supposed to call Liz's phone or see any photos or videos of the event. The last rule said that I wasn't allowed to drop Liz off or pick her up from the wedding because Kevin said that his wife didn't want to see me on her wedding day. I thought that was highly insecure and a bit loco on the wife's part, but I agreed anyway. So I asked how Liz would get there, and he said, "We'll take care of it. Stay out of it." I was with Mom while Liz was at the wedding. I then get a call from her crying, saying that I needed to come and get her immediately. I freaked out and asked what was going on. She told me that her 19-year-old stepsister poured wine all over her dress for no reason. Keep in mind that her dress was yellow with silk material, so nothing that violated the dress code. I was furious. I asked where her dad was in all of this, and she said he saw it but downplayed it and told her to go wash and then come back. She begged me to come to get her, and I got in my car with my mom and went to the wedding. We got there. They had the wedding at his in-laws' house, and I rushed in and started calling Liz's phone. Kevin and his in-laws saw me, and he rushed over to me, asking what I was doing there. I said I was there to get my daughter, who her stepsister mistreated and humiliated for no reason. He got upset, told me I wasn't supposed to be there, and yelled at me to leave. We argued till Liz came. He tried to make her stay, but I told Mom to take her to the car. The argument got bigger, and I ended up leaving after calling him a terrible dad in front of his in-laws. Liz was crying nonstop. I couldn't get her to stop, so I stayed the night with my mom. But the next day, both Kevin and his family were coming at me from all directions, calling, texting, coming over, to tell me that I ruined the wedding and made a scene after I was explicitly told and warned not to show my face there. I had to argue with him, his mom, and his dad for hours, trying to discuss what happened with Liz, and what his mom suggested was that I could have had someone else come pick her up. But she called me and was crying. In that moment, I felt like running with both feet to get her. But now I think I may have caused a scene and handled this inappropriately. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Obviously, you were right to go pick her up, but there was zero reason for you to run inside while calling her phone. You could have called from the car or had your mother go in. Instead, the stepdaughter started the drama. Your ex didn't stand up for your daughter, but you took advantage of the situation to cause more drama. Yeah, I've got to disagree with this one. If Dad didn't want the ex-wife to show her face, he should have done something. Walking in to retrieve her probably made her feel like someone was on her side. Sorry, but when someone who's supposed to be your family humiliates you and your father downplays it, screw their feelings getting hurt. They've lost any right to respect they may have had before. You don't get to trample over someone, humiliate them, and then complain about being mistreated. Not the idiot, OP. You did what any good mom would do. You went and got your daughter out of a horrible situation. So now your daughter knows she can count on you always. He's lucky you didn't involve the police, because that was an assault on his daughter, who he didn't defend. Your poor daughter, being treated like that, and then dismissed by her father as if it's nothing. I honestly hope that it did ruin the wedding. They deserve to have it ruined for bullying and allowing bullying of a child. His new wife must be insecure if she couldn't see your face on her wedding day. And from now on, don't allow to be yourself a pawn in these strange games his new wife is playing. Just do your thing and block all these family members of your ex. You don't need these kind of people in your life. It's one of the perks of being divorced. This marriage of your ex will probably not last for long, or he'll lose his daughter over this. My friend, 20 male, and I, 19 female, both go to school in the US, but we are both in a foreign European country to gain work experience. The internship is unpaid, but the school provides a small stipend to pay for rent for those with financial needs. My friends and I both got this stipend. We have a week and a half left here. My friend suddenly told me he needs to fly to Austria to see his mother. He's a citizen of Austria, but our school is in the US because she's sick. She had cancer in the past and they said they think it might have come back. He has no more stipend money, so he asked me to loan him $110 for the plane. I found out he's actually in Paris with his girlfriend. My other friends showed me his personal Instagram story. His mom is fine. I got upset at him since he deceived me, and he admitted it and said, "But you wouldn't have given me the money if I had told you the truth." I said he needed to give me back the money so I could eat, because I'm stuck here another week with basically no money for food. He's ignoring me now, and my other friends are saying it's warranted because of my harsh words for him. I have like $15 to eat for a week and a half. I need the money so I don't starve alone in a foreign country, but they're acting like I'm being an unreasonable person for demanding it, and he isn't answering. So, am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. He lied about why he needed it, and not just that, but he used a fake cancer scare as the excuse so he could go see his girlfriend. That kind of lie is just manipulative and dirty. Why didn't his girlfriend pay for him? And him saying he knew you wouldn't give him the money otherwise proves he knows it was wrong. No amount of harsh words from you makes what he did okay. I'd be blowing up his phone and social media until he gave it back. Probably the girlfriends too. If he blocked me, I'd start telling all his friends how he used his mother's cancer to steal money from me. He's no longer a friend. All bets are off. Not the idiot, but contact his parents and ask for the money. DM his mother sincerely. "Hey, Marcus told me you were sick. I lent him money for the flight back to see you, but I haven't heard from him. Did his flight arrive safely? He was so worried about you and going on and on about how he couldn't afford to go see you. So naturally, I lent him the $110 he needed to ensure you were okay. I just haven't gotten an update from him, so I wanted to check on you myself. He said your cancer's back. How bad is it? Do you need anything? How can I help?" Yes, but OP should also add that he promised to pay me back ASAP, and I have almost no money left for food. And since I haven't heard from him, I'm really worried about both of you, as I know he wouldn't leave me without food money unless something was wrong. All of this, and also contact the people in charge of the program and do the same thing. Only tell them the truth. Say, I gave him money to go home to be with his mother, but now I'm struggling for food money. Then I found out he took my money, went to hang out in Paris with his girlfriend, and he won't pay me back. Are there funds for emergencies I can access? Document it all. That little turd abused the program as well as you. My husband, 32, and I, 26, have been married for nearly 6 months. His family and I don't have a super strong connection because I don't spend much time around them. We also have so little in common. I had only attended 2 of their events, and both times I couldn't sit with the family. My brother-in-law's wedding was last week. It was the first in-law's wedding that I attended. Not gonna lie, I was nervous, but hoped this would be an opportunity for me to bond with them, especially mother-in-law. My husband and I got there. He then greeted guests, and I waited for him till the ceremony began. After that, we got invited to eat. I went to get my makeup fixed, then came back and saw that both family tables were full. My husband was sitting with his mom, dad, and sisters, and the other table had relatives, and they were all men. I looked so confused, and I stood there, and mother-in-law motioned for me to go sit at a table where formal guests were seated. I was completely baffled at this. I politely told her I'd like to sit with my family and my husband, but my husband said there was no free spot for me. I told him he could have saved me a chair, but he said that just like me, he was a guest, and there wasn't much he could do. He urged me to go sit at that table, but I refused, and we started arguing. His mom told me I was making an unnecessary scene and complaining for no good reason. I had it. I gathered my coat and turned to leave. I could tell that several guests knew about it because of how loud the argument was. My husband followed me out and kept telling me to quit acting immature and go back, but I refused and said that I was going home. I went home, then he came back later to tell me how he and the rest of the family felt about what I did and how I embarrassed the family and made a scene at his brother's wedding for no valid reason. I said I wasn't going to sit by and be excluded like that, but he said I got this wrong and that this was his brother's wedding and we were all guests, and I should, as a guest, respect that. So we went on and on about this and then stopped talking altogether. His mom and sister commented about me being oversensitive and having attachment issues for refusing to sit away from my husband for 30 minutes or so. Am I the idiot for leaving this wedding? Not the idiot. They told you that you aren't family, and they have no intention of changing that. The husband is 32. I could understand a young 20-year-old with a frontal brain lobe that isn't fully developed overlooking his wife at the moment. But by 30, he should have known better and knew exactly what they were doing. Don't waste your time with a crappy person being excluded. OP, you deserve better. As a husband, I'm amazed at how often I see stories of spouses treating their husband or wife like an outsider when they're around their side of the family. If I were in this man's shoes, I would have said, yes, we can go sit at the formal guest table since there isn't enough room for us. My wife and I do plenty separately, but when we attend a function together, we attend it together. Purposely excluding you is such small, petty behavior. They made it into a thing when they did that. They wanted you to take it on the chin, but instead you stood up for yourself and shined a light on their pathetic behavior. I would have left the wedding too, and then left the marriage. Agree. I highly salute you for leaving the wedding. OP, he's letting them walk all over you. In my experience, mama's boys also suck in other respects and may also be immature and controlling. I would be taking a hard look at the relationship as a whole, specifically any changes that would have occurred after marriage. My wife and I, both 40, have a kid each from previous relationships. Mine is Connor, 18 male, and hers is Sasha, teen female. My son has a girlfriend, Hannah, teen, and both she and Sasha are lactose intolerant. Sasha spends half the month with us, so we always have normal and lactose-free milk. I'll admit, Sasha's milk is quite expensive because she only likes the certain kind that she can also drink alone and not just with coffee or smoothies. Now the issue is Hannah spends almost 3 to 4 days here, and my wife and I don't mind at all. Still, Sasha has complained several times that Hannah drinks her milk as fuel during those days and barely leaves anything for her. We go to the supermarket every 2 weeks. Sasha can go to any nearby store and get more, though not the one she likes, and has asked us to either buy a gallon for her only and one for Hannah, or tell her to go buy her own milk. So my wife decided just to buy Sasha a small fridge to keep in her room so that she could store her milk and other things there, which I find very disrespectful. This has caused Hannah to ask if she can borrow a bit of milk every time she wants to drink a coffee with us. And Sasha says yes most times, but when she decides Hannah has had enough milk, she says she's almost running out, which is a lie. A few days ago, before Sasha was about to come back from her father's, my wife and I bought the groceries and we put the milk in the fridge. Then Sasha came and attempted to take it to her room, and I said that she wasn't allowed to do it because it was for the whole house and she had to leave it there. She didn't say anything and just went to her room. About 5 to 6 hours after that, Sasha's dad pulled up and brought her a gallon and told us that we didn't have to buy any more lactose-free milk for Sasha since he'll be taking care of it from now on, but that my son's girlfriend wasn't allowed to have any, so we had to provide for her if we wanted to. My wife is mad. She said we should have let Sasha have her own milk and bought another for when Hannah's here, even if it's not as expensive. But I think Sasha's being a brat. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Hannah is inconsiderate regarding Sasha's milk. She's drinking too much too often. You need to put your foot down. Hannah can bring her own milk if she wants it, or drink something else. Guests lose their special privileges when they're there 3 to 4 days a week, inconveniencing the people who live there to this degree. You can also stay on top of the milk situation better and solve the problem yourself by buying an appropriate amount for both girls. I was initially confused, as I'd assumed Hannah was one of their children, but then I looked back at the names and saw it was the son's girlfriend. Seriously? Why does the girlfriend get special treatment? Can't she just carry or leave the non-dairy little tubs that don't need refrigeration when she needs coffee? Because she's his son's girlfriend. Sasha is just his wife's daughter. Notice he never calls her his daughter or stepdaughter, and is clear in his language that she isn't his. The problem is that you, OP, weren't buying more. Sasha and her mom proactively tried to solve the issue by suggesting getting more or protecting her special supply. But you can't let her have her one special thing. You're the one who cultivated the scarcity mentality in her. She wouldn't care if she had to share. It didn't mean she sometimes had to go without. Why not get a gallon? Why not get 2 gallons? Congratulations, you created drama and resentment in the household for no reason. Here's a damn gallon of milk, you moron. I love Sasha's dad in this story. OP, you should feel embarrassed. You're creating problems between your wife and her daughter. I wouldn't be surprised if Sasha went to live with her father full time. You may think you've won, but you're only going to hurt your marriage. Yes, you apparently think Sasha's a brat. You don't like her. You're deliberately trying to deprive her of something as basic as milk. That poor kid should not have to live with you at all. We had our baby girl 6 weeks ago. Since then, my husband started sharing on social media platforms about how hard he works and how hard being a father is, basically getting sympathy points, while I do 80% of childcare, obviously. It got to the point where friends and family would scold me for not giving that poor man a break. I got fed up, so I started recording him when he got home. He eats by himself, watches TV, naps, etc., all with dates and times, and I started sharing those videos whenever a family member or friend called me bossy. My husband got mad and demanded I stop sharing those videos. I said I will once he stopped acting like he was the one working hard. Last night we were out, and some friends of my husband started with his sob story about how being a dad is consuming. Friends started side-eyeing him while he listed the things he does throughout the day. I pulled my phone and showed him what he does throughout the day. He was stunned, and our friends were quiet. Dinner got awkward, and we went home. He blew up at me, saying I was ruining his reputation, alienating him from everyone, and throwing dirt on his name. We argued for hours, and then he left to be with his family. His mom hinted that I was wrong for handling it this way, and called me childish and a bully for it. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He is lying, and not stopping friends and family when they're scolding you for not giving him a break, while you do the lion's share of childcare. He comes home, eats alone, takes naps, and watches TV peacefully. When do you get to do those things? It's only 6 weeks in, and he's already acting so immature. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to get better. You're only 6 weeks postpartum. What kind of friends and family do you guys have that would judge you, even if he did 90% of the work with the baby? You gave birth about a minute ago. Even if it was easy labor, your whole body's still recovering. I'm legitimately concerned about your support system for the divorce that could happen if your husband doesn't pull his head out of his rear. You'll need a community you can rely on. Everyone's the idiot here. I'll take you at your word that your husband's not pulling his weight when it comes to childcare. Therefore, he gets some idiot points. But do you think that some sort of public shaming campaign will increase the likelihood of him becoming a more engaged parent or strengthen your relationship in any way? If this is an issue, you need to address it as adults do. If your husband refuses to address the issues in an adult manner, then you have other decisions to make. You undoubtedly have a problem. My issue is with your solution. He's the one bringing it out in public. He isn't framing it as being a parent is really hard on both of us, but it's hard on him. Now, if he wasn't airing this and she pulled out the phone to complain about him, it would be on her. So her doing that only after he puts it out there to me isn't retaliation, but showing it isn't true. And your solutions to keep it private or leave it with the newborn? Really? He's a lying, lazy idiot who deserved what he got. Okay, I already know it sounds bad, but I, 35 female, and my husband, Jeff, 37, are currently expecting a boy, his first child, my second. I got pregnant with my first when I was 18, and his dad was never in the picture. I work as a substance abuse counselor, and I love my job. However, this is where it gets tricky. My job offered me 8 weeks of PTO for when I have our son. I was so happy because I didn't want to return to work right away. Jeff and I got together when I turned 30, and he moved in with me because I own my house. We just got married this year and have talked about childcare multiple times, so he knows I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. Well, I'm due in November, and he just brought this idea up. I was baffled because we've already talked about this, but I guess my mother-in-law and sister-in-law believe I should stay home with our son as a mother and a wife. I just don't understand where their opinions come in because I already know where they stand. Both stayed home with the kids. All three of them sat me down to have this talk, and they wanted me to focus on the kids, cleaning up the house, making dinner, and all of that. But I already work and do those things. Well, mother-in-law decided to throw it in my face that I never got to be a stay-at-home mom because I was a single mom, going to school and working, which she's not wrong, but it made me angry that she brought it up. I told them that I worked so hard to give my son a good life, and having another baby doesn't change my decision to keep doing something I love, and that if they all want someone to take care of the house and kids all day, Jeff should be a stay-at-home dad because I make more money than him, and it would make more sense for him to stay home instead of me. It turned horrible after that. I got yelled at by mother-in-law and sister-in-law that it's not his role as a father to do those things, and that he's the man of the house and should be the one making money. Jeff just stood there not saying anything, and I blew up and reminded all of them that it was my house, not his. I kicked mother-in-law and sister-in-law out, and Jeff was so mad at me that he went with them. He said he won't come back till I apologize to all three of them. So, am I the idiot for not wanting to be a stay-at-home mom? Nope, not the idiot. OP, you make more. It's your house. Your in-laws are dinosaurs. And your husband just proved that he doesn't have your back. Bonus, here's your to-do list for tomorrow. 1. Change locks. 2. Make an appointment to see a family lawyer about custody, parenting time, and child support in your jurisdiction. 3. Research them on the internet in the meantime. 4. Resolve that none of those 3 people gets back in the door unless they provide you with a fulsome, sincere apology. Sorry about the marriage, OP. I hope it was fun while it lasted. The thought of my husband bringing my sister-in-law and mother-in-law into my house to tell me what to do with my life, especially after discussing exactly what I want, makes my blood boil. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Please reevaluate your relationship with Jeff and whether or not his value systems are compatible with yours. Do you want your son to be taught this drivel about how he needs to grow up to be the man of the house? Do you want the rest of your life to be cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the children for Jeff? Because presumably, he won't lift a finger to help you because that's not his job. Because that's what's going to happen if you stay with this man and let him and his family treat you like this. Please be compassionate to yourself and your children and realize that you deserve far better. My vote is for the husband set up mother-in-law and sister-in-law to deliver this message, and he didn't do it with the goodness in his heart of having the baby have a stay-at-home mom. He did it so OP would take care of him like his mom used to. Flags everywhere. Update. It's currently 1:15 a.m., and Jeff just called me. He informed me that he cleared out our joint bank account and deposited it into his account, bill money, savings for future trips, and grocery money that he's been thinking, and the only way he'll come home is if he can be responsible for all the finances, and I put his name on the house too. I said absolutely not and hung up. I've already reached out to my boss, and I'll be working from home via virtual meetings. I'll be calling and talking to attorneys tomorrow morning to see what my options are. I didn't let Jeff know I'd be home, so I'm sure he'll try to stop me. Where I live, real estate developers have started snatching up family homes, bulldozing them, and building enormous $2 million houses on plots of land. Unfortunately, the houses also stick out horribly in terms of aesthetics. Think single-level brick homes with 3-level gigantic white and black boxes in the middle. My home's been in the family for several generations. We've always been known for having a large, beautiful garden. We invited over kids to help with gardening. We gave away so many veggies, we'd hold parties, etc. It's been a neighborhood treasure for years, until developers snatched up the lot next door, bulldozed it, and erected an enormous house that blocked the light to most of the garden. Many of us tried to fight it with the city, but everything was denied. It was heartbreaking. Our neighborhood has been changed forever. This was a link to my family, and I almost have had to go through a grieving process for it. The new owners moved in and were not welcomed warmly by the people in the neighborhood. I avoided them for as long as possible, other than politely waving or nodding. It was a young couple in their early 20s. We finally came face to face, and the woman asked if we could chat. She said she felt like maybe they'd done something wrong when they moved in. or if they weren't pulling in their trash bins or something, being too loud, etc., because people haven't been friendly. The guy says that he's surprised, considering it felt like a nice and somewhat affluent neighborhood, and given the price, he was expecting friendly neighbors. I asked if they had done any research about the area. They said that they moved from California, so no. I said that maybe that was their mistake. They said they didn't know what I meant. So I asked if they've ever looked in our backyard. They said yes, and they said they thought the garden was cute. I said yes. The garden that now has about half the sunlight than before your house was built was a neighborhood treasure. So the guy said, "Well, it's not our fault you built the garden there, is it?" I said, "Well, you guys got what you paid for, $2 million for a house that everyone in the neighborhood hates." So I said I hoped it was worth it and wished them a nice day. When I told another neighbor about the exchange, she told me that she felt bad for them moving without knowing what they were getting into. Am I the idiot for telling them they got what they paid for? So you unloaded your pent-up anger at the developers on the couple who unwittingly bought the house. You are the idiot, OP. That couple did nothing wrong. They bought a house on the market. Now, if they had been the ones to buy the house or land from the previous owner, bulldoze it down, and then build their $1 million mansion, you might have a leg to stand on. But from what you say, the neighborhood is taking out their frustration and anger on an innocent couple. Yeah, but I do get why he'd be angry if instead of, "Oh, we're sorry, we didn't know about your garden," they decided to go with, "It's not our fault you built your garden there." When it comes to this kind of mega home, I agree, but I also think places need to change. This is why most grad students live in someone's attic. Many old communities completely boycott any affordable housing, even as the population doubles or more. Mega homes for the rich don't help either, but I dislike the people who want their neighborhoods to stay the same forever, just as much. OP, they bought a house. Did you research the neighborhood? Is your garden a big thing so well known it's in the papers that those people could know about it without talking with the neighbors before moving in? And specific talks. And even then, they didn't design the house, just bought it. It's not their fault. And you were being angry at them as if it is. Also, if the size of your neighbor's house affects how you act, you might want to seek therapy. You take the cake today due to treating people like crap because they apparently stole your sunlight, and you're big mad about it. These people likely had no idea about your garden or what was there before the house they bought was there. It's not their fault that the house was built there. You want to be mad? Be mad at the real estate developers. That's the actual bad guy here, not the people who bought the house. I can't believe this became a conflict. With the weather being so nice, I decided it'd be nice to have a fun little dinner party. So I invited everyone and their SOs if they had them. One of the SOs is Rick. I've always gotten along with him just fine, but he's one of those guys who tries to make the most bizarre things into his entire personality. The biggest one is that he's a huge garlic guy. He's one of those guys who makes a huge deal out of how he uses 400 cloves of garlic in a dish. I don't eat garlic. I have GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease from purging, and unfortunately, my biggest triggers are alcohol and garlic. I'm okay with cooked onions. For some reason in the past 2 years, my sensitivity to garlic has actually gotten worse, so I didn't use garlic in the dishes I made. Not a huge deal, right? I have a pantry full of other spices, and I'm not shy about using them. We were eating and I got some compliments on the food. It wasn't anything special, but Rick said he liked it, but felt the food was missing something, and asked how much garlic I used. I said I don't eat garlic, so I didn't include it. He scoffed and was like, "How can you not use the most basic ingredient to most meals? That's why it tastes like this." He made a big exaggerated face and put the food down. He then asked why I'd have a dinner party if I had such a limited palate, and that he wouldn't have people over for Thanksgiving dinner if he was a vegetarian. I said, "I have GERD, dude. Garlic triggers it." He pointed out that I was drinking alcohol. I said, yes, I was in fact drinking one hard seltzer that I had flattened, and that these are the only alcoholic beverages I can drink, and that I also had one just in case my body changes its mind. He and I went back and forth until his girlfriend, the one who actually is my friend, told him to chill. Rick got louder and was laughing like, Come on, guys, am I really the idiot here? With his hands out. One of the other guys said it was a little weird, but not a big deal. Anyway, it's a month later, and Rick still won't drop it. Instead, he insists that it was an idiot and selfish hosting move to drink the alcohol, but not cook with the garlic, because garlic goes in everything. So now I'm curious and thought this would be a fun low-stakes question for you all. Am I the idiot? Why are you friends with this monumental idiot anyway? Someone whose entire personality seems to be about one tiny thing? Who thinks he's the food police? I'm a very keen cook, and garlic is inappropriate for many, many, many dishes. Not the idiot, of course. I'm also curious, doesn't he stink 24/7? OP should still invite him, but serve him garlic. Only garlic. Several whole roasted garlic bulbs, and nothing else. Is that enough garlic for you now, Rick? And make sure you get a vampire costume for Halloween for his benefit. Rick needs to get his garlic addiction under control. It's affecting his relationships at this point. If my XO acted that way, not simply expressing a preference for garlic, but telling the host it was rude to omit it, I would be mortified. No joke. Possible grounds for breaking up, because who behaves that way? Not the idiot, open and shut case. My best friend and I have known each other since we were like 3, and we've always been super close. She's the first of us to get married, and I'm so happy for her, and was happy to be asked to be her maid of honor. However, she and I were not expecting her fiance to consider my ex a close friend now that he's his groomsman. We knew that they kept in touch after I broke up with him, but we had no idea they were friends. What's even worse is that my ex is using this as a way to try and force his way back into my life. She warned me when she found out, and I agreed to one night out with all 6 of us, my best friend, her fiance, and their bridesmaids and groomsmen. I was paired with her fiance's brother, the best man, and my ex with her sister, a bridesmaid. But he would not stick around her sister at all. He kept coming over to me. He tried to get me to take him back, and he joked that we should just go and hook up. He touched me a few times, and I had to brush him off. He was just intense. Our breakup happened a little over 2 years ago. We were together for 5 years, lived together, had talked about marriage and babies, and then I heard him mock me to his friends and say disgusting stuff, like I was so boring as a person, but at least my body was good, so he could drown out the rest of me and just focus on my looks. He mocked me for being sensitive. He also mocked that I had low self-esteem from my childhood relating to my family, and told them details only he and my best friend knew. My best friend asked her fiance if there wasn't anyone else. He told her that the 2 of them got so much closer in the last 2 years, and that he truly considers him his closest friend now, and so on. He said we should be able to deal with being around each other for a few hours. She asked if there was anything she could do to make it easier, but I can't be around him like that. I can't even have him following me around and trying to win me back. He humiliated me. He said things that I never would have expected out of him. He got 5 years of my life, and he treated me like that. We agreed that I should just pull out of the wedding. My best friend is so upset, and she's upset with her fiance. He's now angry with me, and he told me I should have sucked it up for my best friend and followed through on being her maid of honor because it meant so much to her. He told me I was being petty, and I should be able to ignore my ex for the sake of my best friend. I do feel bad. I hate doing this, but I know I'd feel trapped in a nightmare if I had to deal with my ex throughout the wedding. There's no doubt in my mind that I would be miserable. She knows this too, which is why we agreed, but I hate doing this to her. I always dreamed of being her wedding, and now? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The groom prioritizes his friend over his bride's happiness, and he's trying to get you to suck it up. He could have chatted with your ex and told him his behavior was unacceptable, and if he tried to get close to you, he'd be dropped. But he preferred pressuring you so he could have what he wanted. I'd tell your friend that her fiancé is trying to pressure you, as that would be a red flag to me. Not wanting to be touched and harassed by a creepy ex-boyfriend isn't being petty. What the heck is wrong with this guy? Also, you did ignore your ex, but it didn't stop him from harassing and touching you against your will and ignoring your no. What else was he expecting you to do? Also, does he want drama at his wedding? I hope your friend realizes who she's about to marry. Yeah, I think you need to step away entirely. And if the ex is continuing to harass you, look into a restraining order. Good luck to the bride. Her fiancé sounds like a real charmer too, being that he knows the history and still allows this. I, 20 female, am currently 30 weeks along. I live with my parents and pay rent, utilities, and other essentials. Ever since I found out I'm pregnant, there's been a lot of tension in the house, and it feels like my parents' marriage is getting worse because of me. When I first found out I was pregnant, my dad flipped his lid because I wasn't married and because I didn't know who the father was. My mom defended me from most of his crap throughout my pregnancy and was very supportive but very disappointed in my dad for his behavior, and it's been ruining their marriage. Last week, my dad demanded I move out, and I refused since I paid rent, and Mom doesn't want me to move out. As usual, Mom defended me, but they had a big fight. I'm feeling like an idiot since I'm ruining my parents' marriage over this, when I could move out, but I don't know where to go and need my mom's support. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You're an adult. If you want to have a baby, that's fine, but there's no reason to expect anyone else to support your child. Babies are loud and disruptive. Your father's done raising his kids, so why do you expect him to start over to raise yours? Not the idiot. You are not ruining your parents' marriage. Your dad is. Your mom is finding out your dad's beliefs around unwed or single mothers. You getting pregnant and having a child has not ruined your parents' marriage. However, your dad's behavior is. I'm really glad your mom is being so supportive, and I hope this situation resolves in whatever way it needs to. You have to prioritize your well-being and the well-being of the baby. Your dad's behavior affects your emotional well-being and your unborn babies. However, he feels it's not important as you and this child, but I'm pretty sure you have some clue about the baby's dad. You might have to pay for some paternity tests, but you need to find out who it is and make them contribute. Don't let him off the hook. I don't know if you want to know who the father is, but your child has the right to know and to be financially supported.